Assalamualaikum dear students, I am Memorisa from Peshawar Model School, Naushehra campus, and today is the first May SVT lecture of chemistry for grade 9, which is question number 2. In question number 1 you have to make 25 MCQs from unit number 1, and in question number 2 you have to make 30 chemical formula by crossing over their valencies. What is mean by a chemical formula? Look at the definition. Symbolic representation of a compound is called a chemical formula. Like we represent elements by its symbol, similarly we represent a compound by its chemical formula. Why we use a chemical formula for a compound? Because it shows a type of atom present in a compound. That what type of atom is present in a compound? Like when we write a chemical formula of water H2O, then we comes to know that it is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. Number second, it show actual number of atoms present in a compound. That how many atoms are present in a compound, like the chemical formula of water H2O. It show that it is made up of 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. Now what is mean by positive radical and negative radical? Positive radicals are those atoms which loses electron, okay, and a positive charge is a pair on it. Positive radicals are also called cations. Negative radicals are those atoms which accept electron, acceptor of electron, and negative charges appear on it, and we call it also anions. Now what is valency? Valency means number of bonds. It shows the number of bonds. If an atom has valency of +1, it shows that it will form one bond and loses one electron. If an atom has valency -1, it will show it will form one bond and it will accept electron. Now these are the few positive and negative radicals. We will form 30 chemical formula from this positive and negative radicals. Positive radicals are sodium, calcium, aluminium, ammonium and magnesium. Negative radicals are chloride, oxide, nitrite, carbonate and sulfate. The first step for making a chemical formula is that the positive radical must be right on the left hand side, and the negative radical must be right on the right hand side. This sodium is a positive radical, we write it on the left hand side, and the chloride is a negative radical, we write this on the right hand side with their valencies. Number second step is that if both the ions have same valencies, okay, +1 and -1, that it will cancel with each other, okay. Now the Na+1 and chlorine Cl-1 +1 and -1 will cancel with each other. Number third, simply join both the ions sodium and chloride, and the chemical formula of sodium chloride NaCl will be formed. Now this number second one is calcium react with oxide. Calcium is Ca+2, oxide is -2. +2 and -2 both have same valencies. It will cancel with each other by joining calcium and oxide. The chemical formula of calcium oxide CaO will be formed. Now aluminium react with the nitride. Aluminium is Al+3 and nitride is -3. Both have same valencies. It will cancel with each other by joining both the ions Al and aluminium nitride will be formed. Now magnesium react with the sulfate. Magnesium is +2, sulfate is -2. +2 and -2 will cancel with each other by joining both the ions. Magnesium sulfate will be formed. Now the third step is that if the valencies of both the ions is different, like sodium react with oxide. Sodium is now react with oxide. Sodium valence is +1 and oxide is -2. Both have different valencies. It will not cancel with each other. What we will do? We will write the charge of the positive ion as a subscript to the negative ion, and the charge of negative ion as a subscript to the positive ion. Subscript ये जो नीचे number लिखा होता है, we call it a subscript. Okay, 2 and 1. It shows the number of atoms, and there is no need to write 1. Now the both have different valencies. Simply by crossing over their valencies, the chemical formula of sodium oxide will be Na2O. Now the sodium react with the nitride Na+1 and -3. Okay, both have different valencies. Simply by crossing over their valencies, Na3 and sodium nitride will be formed. There is no need to write 1. Now sodium react with the carbonate Na+1, carbonate CO -2,3. Both have different valencies. Simply by crossing over their valencies, the chemical formula of sodium carbonate will be formed, Na2CO3. Now sodium react with the sulfate. Sodium symbol is Na+1 and sulfate is So -24. Both have different valencies. Simply by crossing over their valencies, Na2SO4 sodium sulfate will be formed. Now these are the compound of calcium. Calcium react with the chloride. Okay, Calcium react with the chloride. Calcium valency is +2 and chloride is -1. Both have different valencies. By simply crossing over their valencies and joining both the ions, CaCl2 calcium chloride will be formed. Now the calcium react with the carbonate. The Ca plus 2 and Co minus 2 3 both have same valencies plus 2 and minus 2. What we will do, simply it will cancel with each other plus 2 and minus 2. By joining both the ions, CaCO3 calcium carbonate will be formed. Now calcium react with the sulfate Ca plus 2 and SO minus 2 4 both have same valencies plus 2 and minus 4. It will cancel with each other. By joining both the ions, calcium sulfate will be formed. Now aluminium compounds. Aluminium react with the chloride. Aluminium valence is plus 3, chloride is minus 1. Both have different valencies. Simply by crossing over their valencies, AlCl3 aluminium chloride will be formed. Now aluminium react with the oxide. Aluminium is plus 3 and oxide is minus 2. Both have different valencies. Simply by crossing over their valencies, aluminium oxide will be formed. Now aluminium react with the carbonate. Aluminium is plus 3 and carbonate is minus 2. Now the fourth point for making chemical formula is that if we have a polyatomic ion like carbonates, it is made up of it is a radical which consists of more than one atom, carbon and 3 oxygen. It is a polyatomic radical. Then for writing a subscript, okay, we use a bracket. Aluminium is plus 3. Plus 3 will we will write the plus 3 as a subscript with the carbonate, and carbonate is minus 2. We will write 2 as a subscript with the aluminium. Simply we cross over their valencies. Then the aluminium carbonate is Al2CO3 whole bracket 3. This is the chemical formula of aluminium carbonate. Now aluminium react with the sulfate. Aluminium is plus 3 and sulfate is minus 2. We use a bracket because it is also a polyatomic radical. Okay, Al2SO4 whole bracket 3 aluminium sulfate is formed. Now the ammonium react with the ammonium is NH4. It will react with the chloride Cl minus 1 plus 1 and minus 1. It has same valencies. It will cancel with each other. By joining both the ions, NH4Cl aluminium ammonium, okay, ammonium chloride will be formed. Now ammonium react with the oxide. Ammonium is plus 1 and oxide is minus 2. Both have different valencies. Simply by crossing over their valencies, ammonium oxide will be formed. We use bracket because it is a polyatomic radical. Then ammonium react with the carbonate. Okay, ammonium is plus 1 and carbonate is minus 2. Simply by crossing over their valencies, NH4 whole bracket 2 CO3 ammonium carbonate will be formed. Now the compound of magnesium. Magnesium react with the magnesium is plus 2. Okay, it will react with the chloride. Chloride is minus 1. But simply by crossing over their valencies, magnesium chloride will be formed. Magnesium react with the oxide plus 2 and minus 2 both have same valencies. It will cancel with each other. MgO magnesium oxide will be formed. Then magnesium react with the carbonate. Mg plus 2 CO minus 2 3 plus 2 and minus 2 both have same valencies. It will cancel with each other. Then by joining both the ions, magnesium carbonate will be formed. Now and this is a lithium. Lithium valency is a plus 1 and oxide is minus 2. Both have different valencies. Okay, both have different valencies. By crossing over their valencies, lithium oxide Li2O lithium oxide will be formed. Now this is a ferrous which we use for iron. Okay, ferrous has a plus 2 valency and oxygen is minus 2. Both have same valency. It will cancel with each other. By joining both the ions, ferrous oxide FeO will be formed. Now sodium react with the fluorine. Sodium is plus 1 and fluorine is minus 1. Both have same valencies. It will cancel with each other. Sodium fluoride will be formed. Now these are 24 chemical formulas. In the six chemical formulas you have to try by yourself by crossing over the positive and negative valencies. Okay, and the valency of in the periodic table, the valency of group 1 is plus 1. This is your periodic table on page number 67. In periodic table, the elements of the group first, all the elements of group first has a valency of +1, all the elements of group second has a valency of +2, and all the elements of group 7 has a valency of -1, and all the elements of group 6 has a valency of -2. Simply by combining the positive and negative radicals, make 6 chemical formulas. Okay, thank you.